Hola. Hi. Some of us have to go through quite a lot of challenges, and we feel we are alone in that. And sometimes we are literally alone in that. And I want to talk to this a little bit, partly because I have some friends who are going through tumultuous times right now, and it somehow really touches me because I know what it feels like when, for example, you're going through a big change, partly because you're in an unhealthy situation that might be living circumstances that aren't healthy for you, or you're getting out of a toxic environment, or it's all of this. And sometimes you might be even forced out because your landlady is selling the house. I know all of those kind of situations, and it is very stressful and very hard to not kind of freak out. And the funny thing is that we often forget how resilient we actually are and that we are getting through this. But at the same time, of course, our nervous system gets quite ramped up. And what I would say to this, like, for example, last year around this time, actually, I was driving all the way back from Portugal to Ireland and came into a situation that I didn't foresee, which was that my landlady was on the verge of deciding to sell her house, and it was a lot of uncertainty because she hadn't decided yet. It was a back and forth, and it was very difficult in that time to make the right decisions because it came down to, am I going to stay in Ireland or not? And if you take Ireland away, maybe am I going to stay in something that so far, for some reason or another, hasn't worked out? And as you know, I kind of took the plunge and came over here, but there were quite a few hurdles I had to take. And so, what I would say to this is it's really important to keep in mind that desperation is not a good advisor, which means when the fear and the anxiety and those things come up, and then I had opportunities, I could have, like, emergency opportunities in Ireland I could have taken, but they didn't feel good to me. And I didn't take them, which obviously is even more anxiety provoking in a way. But if I wouldn't have said no to those things, I wouldn't have found other opportunities that turned out to be just the right thing for me. It started with finding a lovely dog sitting opportunity still in Ireland, and it continued with other opportunities. And so, even though it's really tough to stay true to your gut feeling and to stay true to what you feel is good for you, independent of what other people are saying, is vital in such a situation. Or at least if you anything like me, it might not work for everyone, but if you're more of the intuitive kind, it's important to somehow calm those, anxious and also desperate parts down enough that you can find the next step. And if you can't calm them down, then this is the point where I believe it's important to reach out to a close friend who can help you just to get a little bit perspective, someone who can hold space for you, someone who doesn't make you wrong, and someone who supports you in what you're already feeling anyway. You're just too confused with all the fear to see it clearly. I'm fortunate enough that I had friends I could reach out to, and I personally would even, if I would have to, I would reach out to a therapist or a coach or something, anyone. Well, I would trust, of course, I would need to trust that person, but anyone who would help me to somehow know which are the fear and desperation parts and which is actually my intuition. It is tough to go through such big changes, especially when they are changes, you know, leaving something that wasn't good for us, and there's a lot of uncertainty involved, and we aren't quite sure yet how this is gonna pan out. And so I think it's learning to trust ourselves, to remind ourselves that most of the time, at least it was like this for me, things do work out, and to find enough perspective that we are not driven by those desperate parts, but take the next step our intuition is leading us to, and stay strong in that. What feels right for now in the moment. It might be not the optimal solution right now, but it might lead to really good thing afterwards. That's at least how it was for me. So yes, we have to tackle really difficult things at times, and we have to tackle them on our own sometimes, but we also can reach out and get some emotional support. That's been me, Anja Kersten. I work with hiding artists and creative entrepreneurs. Take good care. Bye-bye.